Okay, so we're going to replace this motor. Let's imitate that this guy is a bad motor. Like I said before, if your machine boots up nicely, everything's great, you press for an espresso and it goes into error right away, that's a good indication that your motor needs to be replaced. So it looks like a lot, but it actually isn't. This screw here is going to come off with this contraption. I like to take pictures, so if you need to take a picture of the front so you know the configuration here, because they can use this motor and turn it in different angles, so the spout will be this way for a different style of machine or whatever the case. But take a picture, take pictures, any wiring, take pictures, but I'll go through what I can to what I know for you as we do the disassembly and reassembly. So we just need to know the configuration here, where this coffee spout is pointing and where this adjustment is. This is all one piece, but we need to know that it needs to go back this way and not that way. So we'll just have to keep an eye on that. So there's only 4 screws and this one is untouched. We don't need to touch that one. That's going to go with the main body, and it's these guys here. So I'll put the EP grinder motor in the parts description at the end of the video. 4 screws. Screws my hands. There we go. These screws are all the same length and they're all the same. Again, it's the T10 Torx screwdriver. I haven't changed tools yet, so that's a good sign. That's what I love about these machines. They keep it nice and simple. So I have the 4 screws out. I'm just going to push this gently through. And there we go. So I've separated the actual motor from the grinding mechanism there. This I can set aside. I don't need to touch that. I'm going to replace the motor. A couple things we need for the next motor is the grommet, and you can see that it's shaped just slightly off. So if you can imagine that the pegs are going to go in this way, that's the way it's going to sit. Okay, we'll go over that when we do the reassembly. There is just one more thing that doesn't come with the new motor. It's this little contraption here. They used to have a little board in there to read the motor, to read the 2 magnets, and then that tells it the speed of the motor, but they've moved on to a different programming and different sensors, so we don't need that little board. If it doesn't have the board, you don't need it. If it has the board, you need it, and if it has a wire to it, you just need to replug that in. So I'm going to take this guy out and I'm going to put it into the new motor. There is a little bump here and I have to push the bump in and out, and that's going to get this guy out. That's the only thing holding it in, so I'm just going to do that. It's past it, and then I can come here. There we go. So that's out. Let me just wipe that off, and you can see the bump there, that little bump, and that's the only thing holding it in, is that little excess metal there. So I got the old motor. I'm going to take that motor, I'm going to toss it. I've got my new motor. I need to put the parts back to it now, and what I'm going to do, I'm just going to slide that guy right up, and you heard it click in. It's in all the way. The old motor, I usually do utilize some of the grease from the old motor and just put in a few spots on the new one. It's pretty good. You still have a lot of grease on this guy, so you're going to be okay. But that's it, pretty much it. So we'll go backwards now. So I remember the configuration. Oh, Yes, this little cap will fall off, so you just want to be careful. Just keeps the grinds out of the motor and the gears, so always put that back on. If you drop it, it's worthwhile finding it. So let's do it this way. There we go. If you remember right, I've got my spout going that way and my adjustment here. So if I turn it over, my screw holes are going to line up. There we go. And we're just going to go backwards. Grinder motors, I used to sell the whole component, and they would be, you know, from $150 to $200 US, Canada. The motor itself, you're probably looking at, you know, anywhere from $60 to $90 US or Canada. So as you can see, it's well worth just replacing the motor itself. The other components last very, very long. And not to say the motor's gonna crap out. Like, I've got machines with the original motor that are 15 plus years old, so it just depends. Like coffee beans, oily or not, how much you use your unit. Because these are screwing into plastic, don't wrench them down. I just want them to make them nice and tight and taut. Like, they have to be secure, so you want to make them nice and tight. For the most part, if I was putting the screw back in here, I would probably use like my 3-4 fingers to do that tighten, and that's how much pressure I would want. This one takes a little bit more. I'm going to use my whole hand for that. So there you go. We just replaced the motor. I can screw this back down because I just took this off for your purpose, just to show you the porcelain burr and how to replace this as well. There we go. That's that. So I do need to put my grommet back on, and there we go. Put it on that way so the motor has some breathing space there. There we go. And this stuff I can put on after I get my motor back in. The wiring, I always just basically say it's non-directional, so it's, you know, black is bottom and red is top. It really doesn't matter. I do what the manufacturing tells me to do. Sorry. There's the wiring. I always do the black on the bottom, the red on top, and that's how the manufacturing sends it, and that's how I do it, but it really doesn't matter.